Macon's known as the song and soul of the South, and it got that recognition thanks to its rich music history. Local music historian Ben Sandifer joins us now to talk more about that. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So, talk about music history. Today, November 4th, is a major anniversary and milestone for Macon music history. Tell us a little bit about that.
It was November 4th, 1969, 44 years ago, that the Allman Brothers Band's first album was released, and that started the whole Southern rock movement. That first album, a lot of people don't know that it was not a big commercial success. I think it was only like number 188 in Billboard.
Oh, wow.
But a lot of music critics got behind it, and they were already making a name for themselves from setting up in parks on Sunday afternoon and playing free, and there was a lot of talk about them, and a lot of the critics, the music writers, and the other musicians were noticing. So that was certainly something that started the whole thing.
And tell us a little bit about how that whole Southern rock movement you mentioned started from this album release and how it grew. Tell us a little bit about the progression of the Southern rock music and here in Macon specifically.
Well, at that time, neither the studio nor the label Capricorn Records had been established, so it was actually released on Atco, but that started the whole movement, and the next album was a little bit better. I think it did crack the top 40, and then the third album was the Live at Fillmore East album, which really propelled the Allman Brothers. And from there it just grew. After the Brothers and Sisters album and Ramblin' Man, their biggest hit, they re-released those first two albums, which did better the second time around.
So pretty cool to know that, you know, today's November 4th is just not your average Monday.
No, not at all.
Now tell us a little bit about your local music historian. Tell us a little bit about your role in kind of keeping Macon's Southern rock history and music history alive and going.
Well, I was in the radio business back then in the heyday of Capricorn, and our station, WNEX, played everything that Capricorn would bring us. They would bring us tapes of unreleased songs and say, hey, play this on the air and see what your listeners think. We think we might have something here. One of those was Wet Willie's Keep on Smiling, which was one of their biggest hits. And so it was just kind of always interesting to me, the history and the heritage of music here. And I started a podcast about 2 years ago to keep the radio skills alive and also to keep the music heritage of Macon going after the Music Hall of Fame here closed up. And that's been going about 2 years now, and have listeners in 41 states and 39 other countries. And just recently we started a second podcast, which is a little bit older music, actually goes back as far as the big band days. We did that for a client, a group of retirement communities here, and that's just been launched last month. That's a monthly podcast.
So you're still keeping Macon's rich music history alive, even though it's been decades now, but it's still here. It's still available for everyone.
Absolutely, and still learning things about Macon's music heritage.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much. For more information on Ben Sandifer or to check out some of his podcasts, visit thegreatestmemories.com.